They told me I might not make it through the night. The machine screamed, my chest burned, and the doctor's voice cracked when he said, "Call her children. If they want a chance to say goodbye, it has to be now." But the phone rang only once. The answer was cold, flat. "We can't. My wife's having a party." And just like that, my family, my blood, chose champagne over me. I should have been shocked. I wasn't. Their absence had been a long time coming. I remembered the day I held each of them for the first time, fragile and helpless in my arms. I promised them everything: safety, love, a home that would never fail them. I worked, I bled, I sacrificed. Their father left early, but I stayed. I was both mother and father, shield and sword. And for a while they looked at me like I was the center of their world. But time corrodes. Gratitude curdles into entitlement. They grew older, colder. Phone calls became excuses. Visits became transactions. I was no longer the son. I was an obstacle. The betrayal wasn't in one moment, it was in the silence, in the unanswered calls, in the birthdays forgotten. Until that night at the hospital, when silence became final. The following morning, against odds, I woke. Weak but alive. I asked the nurse for water, and in that clear plastic cup, I saw something sharp in myself return. Not anger, calculation. They thought I was fading, that my story was almost over, that I would go quietly, and they'd inherit what I had spent a lifetime building. They were wrong. The first step was patience. I didn't confront them. I didn't beg. I listened when they finally visited, a week later, with their rehearsed guilt and hollow eyes. They found only an empty bed and a note. I can still see their faces as they unfolded it, pale, frozen, afraid to read aloud. But before that moment, there was my work. While I recovered in silence, I planned. I called a lawyer I trusted more than I trusted my own blood. We combed through every account, every deed, every policy. I rewrote the story of my estate, line by line, signature by signature. The empire they assumed would fall into their hands, redirected. To charities, to strangers in need, to people who still understood loyalty. I left them nothing. But nothing wasn't enough. They needed to feel it. So I crafted my exit. Not from life, yet, but from theirs. The note was short, 5 lines. You had one chance, one night. You chose a party. I died for you then, even if my body survived. Do not look for me. Do not call me. What you wanted is gone. That night, they called every hospital in the city. They demanded answers. They circled like vultures, only to find the carcass already stripped. I had erased myself from their maps, changed addresses, closed doors. My silence was louder than any scream. And then the news reached them, slowly, cruelly, that the will was rewritten, the accounts drained from their reach, the house sold, the land gifted, their inheritance ashes. They tried to fight it, of course they did, but I had been thorough. Every document airtight, every signature notarized, every intention recorded in front of witnesses who had seen my tears. They had no case, no standing, no way back. I imagine them now, sitting in that house of theirs, staring at the walls that suddenly felt too small, too fragile. The wife's party pictures must have soured. Smiles frozen in photographs taken on the night they let their mother die alone. I don't need to see it. I can feel it. The weight pressing down on them, the whispers among relatives, the sideways glances, the shame that no money can bury. Do I regret it? No. Regret belongs to the weak. What I gave them was not cruelty, it was clarity. A mirror held steady until they could no longer look away from what they had become. They wanted a mother only as long as she gave. The moment I needed, they left me for dead. That was the contract they signed with their absence. I only enforced the terms. Sometimes, late at night, I hear the monitors beeping in my dreams. The doctor's voice saying, "This could be her last chance." And then I hear their answer, cold as glass. "We can't. My wife's having a party." That was the moment I buried them. The funeral was in my heart. Everything after was just paperwork. They came too late. They will always come too late. And when they opened that note by the empty bed and their faces drained of color, they finally understood. I hadn't left them. I had erased them.